about your health, how do you get to maintain your health, and how do you attain a good health lifestyle. And today, our topic is about diabetes. What is diabetes? And also you're going to cover about how to prevent diabetes and measures that you are going to take in order not to get diabetes. And also, if you have diabetes, what are you supposed to do? What kind of medication are you supposed to take? And today we have Dr. Martha Nzoka. Dr. Martha.
Hello.
We are so grateful to have you in our show. I mean, nimekutafuta.
I know.
Nairobi ni kubwa.
Nairobi ni kubwa.
So, Dr. Martha,
yes.
You're going to talk to us more about yourself first. Obviously, you're going to talk about Dr. Martha, and she's going to tell us about herself, her background first, before you get to the topic. Yes, Dr. Martha, tell us, who are you first?
Yes, Cecilia, I am Martha Nzoka.
Yes.
I'm a lady, beautiful, very beautiful lady. I'm a clinician. I'm a sister, I'm a daughter, and I'm a mother also.
Okay.
Yes, that's basically about me for now.
Okay. Yeah. Doctor, why medicine? Why did you choose medicine?
Wow. Medicine is very broad and it's very interesting thing to learn. I got a chance to learn through my mom. She's the one who sought this course for me. I was privileged. I wanted to do CPA and BCom, but I know, right? I had got a scholarship at Strathmore University, but it went way at some time.
Lakini Mungu nani?
Yes, I lost that scholarship, and so my mom decided to just choose a course randomly for me. She knew people who had done clinical medicine, and yes, that's how I got myself at Kenya Medical Training College.
Okay.
Yes, in Amira.
So, what inspired you to do medicine?
Apart from my mother seeking the job for me, when I go to school, earlier before that, I lost my grandmother due to breast cancer. I had friends who had diabetes, pastors. I had friends who had cancers, different conditions. And so now I thought that, why not do this? Why not do this for the community, for myself, for my family? Yes, and that's what inspires me most. And even throughout my time in the field, meeting and interacting with different people, I've come to love medicine. I'm so passionate about helping other people. I'm so passionate about meeting new people, discovering new conditions, discovering how you can help the society. Yes, I'm a product of the community, and that's what makes me love medicine much. Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Wow. So maybe a viewer would like to know, apart from pursuing medicine, what else do you do?
For now, I'm a full-time clinician. I don't have any other side businesses. I'm a full-time mother also. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So viewers, you've heard that she's a mom, and she doesn't do anything else apart from the clinician part. What are your goals maybe in 5 years to come?
In 5, that's interesting. In 5 years to come, it looks like a very short time. I would really love to pursue or specialize in a clinical course, probably oncology. I really love to meet many people in this field. Also, as a clinician, the way I am right now, I really love to help the community, to help the sick, and to help those who are in need, actually. Yes, that's what in 5 years' time I would really love to do. Yeah.
Wow, okay. Yes. So, we're going to get to a topic which is diabetes.
Yes.
And I'm so sure that we have viewers that are going through that. They have diabetes. So, and some of us don't know what is diabetes. Tunasikianga tu diabetes. What is diabetes, doctor?
Diabetes is so huge. I can start from there. And so many people have diabetes. Some know of their condition, and some don't even know of their condition.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so it's interesting, actually. Diabetes, according to WHO, is a chronic metabolic disease that affects the pancreas, and it makes the pancreas not be able to produce insulin, and even when it's able to produce insulin, it's produced in small amounts and sometimes to no any amount of insulin being produced. And when it produces these small amounts, the body is not able to use the insulin that is being produced.
Wow.
So in some cases there is insulin produced but the body doesn't take. And some cases the pancreatic cells does not produce any insulin at all. Yeah, so there are different types of diabetes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are the signs of diabetes?
There are so many signs of diabetes. First, according to the type, first you may have so much thirst. You're taking a lot of water. When you take a lot of water, it needs to be excreted. So you urinate a lot. So there is frequent urination in a person who has diabetes. Another thing is that they eat a lot. But yes, they eat a lot, but it doesn't show. You know, when you eat a lot, it shows by maybe you gain a lot of weight. But in this case, you eat a lot, but you're losing so much weight. Yes.
Wow.
So like in 2 weeks time, you may find others lose so much weight up to maybe 10 kgs in 2 weeks.
Oh.
Yeah, so you lose a lot of weight when you're eating so much.
Is that why I see many doctors recommending diabetic patients to take maybe food after an hour, I think so.
In small portions?
Yeah.
Not really. The part for taking food in smaller portions is just that it may not increase, it may not shoot so much. Yes, the insulin in the body may not, just to regulate the insulin and the intake of the sugars. Yes, that's why you eat small portions and over very short periods. You don't have to take like ugali nini and over just one period. You take maybe in the morning at around 10, at lunchtime at around 4 in the evening, and then at night.
Wow.
You just take small portions. Yes.
Okay, so any other signs of diabetes?
Another sign of diabetes is that you may have fatigue, you're just so tired, you may have dry lips, sometimes you just get too much infections, like urinary infections. You may have like some sores on your foot that come and go. You may have blurry vision, it affects the vision also. You may have headaches. Yeah, so when it's not well controlled, you may have many symptoms. Yes, but when you control it well, means that the less the symptoms.
Okay.
Yes, or even to no symptoms.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting. So, what are the main causes of diabetes?
Diabetes has many causes, and you may find that in some cases it can be family. When in your family you have someone who had diabetes before, it can be your father or your mother or both of them. And when in a family there is history of diabetes, that means one sibling may be affected, and it goes down that way. Same as to genes. When there is a gene in your family that someone maybe had a gene for diabetes, that means down the line someone will have. Maybe even in your family, God forbid, probably your mom or your dad had a gene for diabetes. There is a chance that also you may get, or one of your siblings.
Okay.
Another thing is race, and it affects the black race so much. Another thing is obesity. Obesity causes, it's a major cause for diabetes. Another risk factor or a cause is when someone has a comorbid infection or disease like cardiovascular diseases. You are so prone to getting diabetes, and also hypertension. You are so prone. Yes, it's in most cases that I have seen, hypertension comes along with diabetes. Yes, so you find so many people having both diseases. Yes, so those are just a few causes of diabetes. In type 2 diabetes will come, type 1 diabetes will come there later. You find that a child, it's autoimmune, whereby the cell, the body, the antibodies that fight against infection, they fight against the cells that produce insulin. That when now the cells that produce insulin are destroyed, you find that no insulin is made, meaning diabetes sets in.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So how common is diabetes in terms of when you range from adults to children?
Adult to children diabetes. Diabetes was currently known as a disease for the elderly, that is above 35 or above 45 years. And before it was known for adults, it was a disease for the elderly.
Yeah,
but
I even grew up knowing that diabetes is only gotten by adults.
Yes, yes. That was just known. But recently, due to obesity, young people are growing obese due to what we eat, unhealthy diets, unhealthy lifestyles. We find that diabetes is more prone diabetes type 2 is even more prone to children also. So that means although it's high in adults, also in children it really affects them so much. Out of 400 children, you may find one child has diabetes. So the prevalence is so high, both in adults and children. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So can one be born with diabetes?
One cannot be born with diabetes, but I heard of a case whereby a 3 months old child had diabetes. We go back to what causes diabetes. You may find that it's in the gene, or it's genetic, or in the family. That means if it's in the family, there is a higher risk of a child getting diabetes. So that's why the child cannot be born with diabetes, but later in life it can be diagnosed. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So who are the most people who are prone to getting diabetes?
As I said, just like in the causes, like Africans are so prone to get diabetes. Obese people, overweight people, they're so prone to get diabetes. People who don't exercise.
I think I'm in that bracket.
People who don't exercise are so prone to getting diabetes. People with cardiovascular diseases, like hypertension, they're so prone to get diabetes.
Okay.
Yes. Nowadays it's not a disease for like the old people. Also the age is a factor. When you're above 45 years, it's a factor. You might get diabetes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
I can see a question here from a Facebook viewer. Does diabetes affect children? But I think you've talked about that.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so doctor, which are the risk factors of getting diabetes?
The risk factors of getting diabetes. Yeah, sure. There are many risk factors for getting diabetes. It's just the causes and the risk factors, they're almost the same. One, when you don't exercise. Lack of exercise is a risk factor for getting diabetes.
I'll start exercising.
You better. Yeah, family history, just the same thing that I talk on the courses. Family history, when you know your parents have diabetes, you better start going for checkups early so that it doesn't get you, it doesn't hit you. Obesity, yes, that's overweight, you are so prone to getting diabetes. The rest, the blacks, yes, you're so prone to getting diabetes, so you better keep on checking. The age is a risk factor. When you're above 45 years, I'll advise you, just go to a clinician, go to a nurse, go to a facility where you can be tested your glucose levels so that you may just be sure. Yes.
Okay.
When you're a family, you have a sibling, also you yourself, you have to check out for yourself. Just be careful. Just be on the lookout for diabetes. Another thing, a twin gestation. They're so prone to getting diabetes. Only one of the twin in a family of where there is a history of diabetes, one of the twin might get diabetes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so there's this point that you've said, if you're born with, or you're born in a family where there's this history of diabetes, and you know about it,
Yes.
and that you have to go and be checked on, does that mean that I won't get diabetes if I get the checkup and all?
No, that's not a guarantee that you won't get diabetes. If it is there, it is there. Even if you check, even if you don't check.
So it's a must you get?
Oh no, it's not a must to get it when, like in a family of 4 siblings, maybe 1 or 2.
Okay.
Yes, just the way the genes go down, you know, there is that cross matching. 1 may get, 3 may not get. 2 may get, 2 may not get.
Okay.
Yes, so it's not necessarily you get, but you have to check for it.
So you have to be careful.
You have to be careful. You always have to be on the lookout. Yes.
Wow, 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 wow.
Another thing, another people what's the risk factor is depression. Depression can cause diabetes. You know, when you are depressed, you don't know what to do. Sometimes you might end up eating things that are not even balanced. A diet that is not even balanced, you may end up being obese, and this is a risk factor to getting diabetes.
Oh, what do you mean by taking meals that are not balanced?
You know, diabetes actually from lifestyle modification. You know, when you're depressed, you may get even into taking alcohol, smoking, just to keep off the stress and what factor may be depressing you. But now, when you're doing this, for example, when you're taking alcohol, when you're taking very unhealthy meals, they may lead to obesity. And this obesity is a risk factor to diabetes. Yes, overweight.
Okay.
Another thing is like a woman when you're pregnant and you have a very big baby. During birth, yes, it may affect it may affect you. It's called gestational
by
diabetes.
By a big baby, you mean according to the kg?
Yes, yes. In medicine, we call it macrosomia. Macrosomia, yes. So when you have a big baby, more than 9 pounds and above, it may lead to gestational diabetes. And gestational diabetes is a risk factor for type 2 diabetes. Once you have gestational diabetes, chances are high that you may develop type 2 diabetes later in life.
Oh, and you've mentioned about type 2 diabetes.
Yes.
So it means that there's type 1 diabetes.
Yes.
So which is better? I mean, wait, okay, when I have type 1 diabetes, does it mean there's what I can do, or there are measures that I can take so that I cannot get type 2 diabetes?
Now, when you have type 1 diabetes, the difference is that there are 3 types actually of diabetes. One is type 1 diabetes, the second one is type 2, the third one is gestational diabetes.
So the gestational, where does it occur?
I'll start with type 1. I know, it's interesting actually.
Yeah, gestational, type 1, type 2, obvious. Aren't you curious?
I know. Now, type 1 diabetes commonly occurs in children. Yeah, and this one is an autoimmune, whereby the antibodies that fight against infection, they fight against the cells that produce insulin. The cells that produce insulin are called islets of Langerhans. So when these cells are destroyed, you find that there is no formation of insulin in the body. So you find that no glucose can be changed into glucagon. You know, the function of the insulin is just to change glucose to glucagon. Glucagon is the stored energy for... Glucagon is a stored form of glucose so that the body can use it later as to form energy. Yes. So when it's not stored, you find that glucose cannot be changed into glucagon. So in the bloodstream, you find there is so much glucose. That's type 1 diabetes.
Okay.
Type 2 diabetes, the cells are very active, the islets of Langerhans. But now, they produce little insulin, or the insulin that is produced cannot be taken by the body. Now the body itself cannot take the insulin that is produced. So still glucose in the bloodstream is high because it's not being changed. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Type 3.
Type 2.
That was type 2 actually.
Okay.
Now we are in 3, gestational diabetes.
Okay. So gestational is called type 2, type 3, sorry.
It's the 3rd one.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Now gestational diabetes, it occurs in pregnant women. You find that it's just like type 2, but here in this case, it's occurring in pregnant women. Yes. Now the difference is just it's in pregnant, and the type 2 is for other community, and type 1 is for the most common in children. But nowadays type 2 is also seen in children. So unfortunate. Yes. So type 2 can also be seen in children. You find that a child is not the body is just not taking insulin. Yes. Yes.
Okay. So what should be one's blood glucose levels be?
For a normal person, it ranges from 3.9 to 5.6 for a normal person. But that is millimole per liter. But for a diabetic person, it can go up to 7.8 millimoles. Yes. Yeah, sure.
Okay, wow, okay. So what happens when the blood glucose is low?
Now, that's what we call it hypoglycemia. Hypoglycemia is when the blood glucose is very low. The symptoms for hypoglycemia, you may find this person having very dry lips, headache. It's just the same way when you're hungry. Now, hypoglycemia is when you're hungry in layman's language. Now, when you're hungry, what happens? You may start shaking. You may start feeling lightheadedness, kizunguzungu. You may have blurry vision. Some even faint, actually. You go unconscious just because you don't have food in your stomach. It's just the same actually thing. When you don't eat, you start having headaches, you have dry lips, you're losing a lot of water. Actually, you're sweating so profusely. You start shaking, you get very weak and fatigued, you are so tired. And sometimes even the mood changes. You know, when you're hungry, even your mood changes actually. You don't want people to talk to you, you just get easily irritated. It's just the same thing when you're hungry. Yes, that's what we call hypoglycemia.
Okay.
Yes, low blood sugars.
Okay, so I guess this might be so hard, especially for a kid.
Yes, and for example, a child whose parents don't want to disclose their baby's condition, maybe in school, to the teachers. You find that the teachers don't know what's happening to this child. And for example, if they don't have they haven't carried the insulin, they don't have any food, you find that the teacher doesn't know what's happening to this child. So it becomes so hard. And sometimes they may even collapse, they may even faint. Yes, and even for children who come from a very poor background, you know, they don't have food sometimes. We find that diabetes becomes so hard for them.
Or maybe even taking their medications, buying them, it becomes costly.
Yes, it becomes so costly. Actually, that's a factor that also becomes a challenge to those people who are poor and have diabetes at the same time. Yes, it becomes a very big challenge.
Okay, so on high blood sugar levels, what are the symptoms?
Now here we call it hyperglycemia. There is hypo.
Hypo and hyper.
Yes.
Okay.
Hypo is when it's low, hyper when it's high. Just know the high.
Does this mean you are too full?
It means you are the sugars in your body, there are so many, and you have a lot, and now it begins to disturb you. And just like in hypoglycemia, you may start having dry lips. You may like the feeling of fullness in your belly. You may get irritated so easily. There is drowsiness. You may get blurry vision. There are very headaches, very severe headaches. And from the smell of the mouth, there is something we call acetone. A fresh, fruity smell from the mouth. When you sit just next to this person, you can feel it. Yes, and in urine, when you do a urine test, you may find so many ketones in their urine. Yes.
Okay. On obesity, you've talked about obesity. So how high are the chances of this person getting diabetes?
They're so high, actually. I won't lie. The probability out of 10 is just 9.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
You get obesity, you don't exercise, you're just there. It's actually it's 10. 10 out of 10. Yes. I don't know who will be your savior here, but it's 10 out of 10.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow, interesting. So, does the menstrual cycle period affect blood glucose levels?
Menstrual cycle actually affects diabetes. You know, when you're undergoing your menses, there are many hormonal changes. The fluctuations of hormones changes. The variation actually changes. And many children or many girls who are going through their puberty or women actually say that before 3 to 5 days before diabetes, they may have their sugars levels in their bodies, they go so high. This is noted in people who do their tests regularly, maybe on a daily basis. So you find that 3 to 5 days before their menses, their sugar levels go high.
Okay.
Yes, and it goes back to normal actually after. And another thing, diabetes makes the hormones. Actually, diabetes makes menses become irregular. You find that women who have diabetes, their menses are so irregular. They become even twice in a month. They may even skip a longer period. Yeah, so it's so irregular.
Okay, so does this mean maybe I have irregular periods? Does this mean I should get tested or?
No, it doesn't necessarily mean that. You know, there are many factors that cause irregular menses, not only diabetes. Yeah, probably you are on family planning pills, they may cause even irregulation. Probably it's just your hormones causing that. So, don't necessarily go for a test because you have irregular menses. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, so if you have irregular periods, don't get worried.
Please don't.
Okay, so there's someone wondering here, can diabetic patients fast? Mentioning that you have to take small portions maybe after an hour. Yeah.
No, don't fast, please. We don't want to lose you, please. So, you know, in diabetes, you just have to keep that energy going. And when you're taking smaller portions of a smaller period of time, we just need you to keep going. Yes, we just need that energy to continue flowing. And if you fast, you lose it. And we don't want to lose you. Please don't fast. Don't fast unless you have clear indications on how to, and please don't. Yeah,
Okay.
please don't.
Okay. So as you've heard, please don't fast if you're going through, if you're a diabetic patient. So I can see Irene Nyawera tuned in for the best show. Wow, thank you so much, Irene. I can also see another viewer here. I love the guest's passion and spirit in helping the community. Wow. And I can also see Agote Elfas watching. So we are going to take a short break, and when you come back, you're going to know is diabetes curable or even reversible. So let's take a break.
Greetings friends, my name is Florence Karameri, the CEO of Kitenge World International. We deal with all kinds of outfits, wedding outfits, kids outfits, ladies outfits, couple goals of fabrics you can choose from, and we deliver countrywide. Fabrics are available both in retail and in wholesale. We are located in Jewtown, Deakin College Building, shop number 4.
Tayari amefundisha, amenena. Nashukuru Bwana, taongea mambo ya vipawa vya Roho Mtakatifu na karama ya walimu ni sehemu yake. We may not have a formal way of having a Bible study or even teaching. unaweza kosa nafasi ya kusema sasa chukueni Biblia tunataka tufanye Bible study ukiwa nyumbani ama kwa biashara, lakini Bwana atapatiana a platform which might be informal platform. And the informal platform ni ya kwamba labda tuseme kwa mfano ni ndugu yetu Kahudhu anaongea na mtu wa nyumba, ama kuna biashara wanaongea juu yake, na wanapoongea, haleluya, huyu Roho Mtakatifu ambaye ameachiwa kanisa kipindi hiki, haleluya, atapatiana a informal platform ndio ufundishe hili neno la Bwana. Any chance that the Holy Spirit gives you as a platform, then pata nafasi hiyo na uitumie vizuri, haleluya. Na ukiitumia vizuri, what you speak, it will break their heart.
Welcome to Nisi Television, House of Rest. We are a Christian TV station airing spiritual, nourishing, and morally shaping content. To advertise your product and service or book a preaching session with us, call us on 0745 849622 or 0722 358590. You can also email us at nisitv2020@gmail.com. Nisi Television, House of Rest.
What is good health? How do we attain and maintain healthy living? We have answers concerning communicable, lifestyle, genetic and non-genetic diseases. Join me, Cecilia Mwariri, and our medical experts every Wednesday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. for informative and educative conversations. This is the 911 show on Nisi Television, where we transform lives through media.
Elohim, Adonai, Shammah, 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 oh Shammah, 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 oh Shammah. Elohim, Adonai, Shammah, oh Shammah.
What is good health? How do we attain and maintain healthy living? We have answers concerning communicable, lifestyle, genetic and non-genetic diseases. Join me, Cecilia Mwariri, and our medical experts every Wednesday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. for informative and educative conversations. This is the 911 show on Nisi Television, where we transform lives through media.
Wow, we are back, and if you've just tuned into on Nisi TV 911 show, man, you've missed, but I'm so sure we are going to have a repeat of this. So we have Dr. Mother, if you've just tuned in, and we are talking about diabetes, and we have talked about the risk factors of getting diabetes. You've talked about obesity, how you can get diabetes when you're obesity patient, and also now we are going to talk about is diabetes curable or reversible. And now our first question, Dr. Mother, how is diabetes diagnosed and treated?
Wow, that's nice. Diabetes it's commonly many people like bypass it. You might find a patient who comes to you with frequent urination, with such kind of an infection. You just manage the infection and then you don't think in a words up to diabetes. And so many times diabetes patients, they are bypassed. You just bypass diabetes. But diabetes is easily managed. It's easily diagnosed, and you find that when you are careful, it's easy for you to note this is diabetes. I heard once of a story whereby a boy was frequently urinating, vomiting, and so much nausea, the headaches. This boy was drinking so much water, and in 2 weeks' time, the boy could even take a whole jug of water just to satisfy the thirst. And also, he was frequently urinating to excrete this lot of water that he was doing. But he went to a facility. They missed the DM diagnosis. They only managed the infection. He went to another facility after 1 week. They missed the DM again there. He went to another facility, and now in the 4th facility is where DM was managed. And how was this? When he went to this facility, I think this was God. He went to the weighing scale. And when they saw the weight, they noted that previously it had gone 8 kgs less from before. So when this doctor questioned more about, when this doctor questioned the mom more, he learned that the baby was taking a lot of water, was urinating so frequently, was fatigued, irritated, and so he asked the mother to test for the blood glucose. And when the baby was tested, they found that it was positive for diabetes. And so you find that diabetes is missed so much by health practitioners. But so one of the things that I've just mentioned to diagnose is the blood strip. You do a blood test for glucose. It's called a random blood test. You can do a fasting blood test. You can do, there's something that is called glycated hemoglobin, HbA1c. This also tests for levels of glucose in your body for up to 3 to 4 months before, previously, the average. And there is something that is called OGTT, oral glucose tolerance test. So also this one, you're able to know the amount of glucose in your body. So from this test, it tells you exactly where your glucose is. It tests the level if you are a pre-diabetic, if you are diabetic, or just where you fall. Yes, and with your age, we can tell also. With your age, with the factors, with the causes, we can tell whether it's type 1, type 2, or gestational. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So how can a diabetes patient manage their condition?
Managing diabetes is so easy. It just need you to give your heart, because this is your disease. You have to accept it and and give your heart towards it. With the help of the medical practitioner who is seeing you, and also with the help of the community, with the help of your family also, you are able to manage diabetes very well. When you take your medication very well, you find that you won't even have complications. You find that you'll avoid many going back to and fro the hospital every now and then. So managing diabetes just gives you to give out yourself to taking medication, exercising regularly, eating a balanced diet, and you just having a healthy lifestyle. You will manage your diabetes very well.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you've talked about a patient accepting that they have diabetes. So is there a point that you've gotten a patient that still is not able to accept that I have diabetes?
Yes, sure. Actually, it's like the grieving process. You know, there are 5 stages in grief, and at first you deny. You just go for a test, and then you're being told that your glucose levels are so high. And then you think that I'll be having to take this medication all of my life. I tell you, my friend, many people refuse. Many people deny the fact that they are going to take medication for their life, and many people, just in the process of briefing, they have to deny at first. And then when you sit them down, you talk to them, you guide them stepwisely, they come to accept.
Okay, so there are hospitals that offer guidance in counseling for such patients.
In 2018, there was a Safaricom Foundation and I think, was it called? Something like DIM, Diabetic Information and Management. They came up with a center where they could talk, they could guide them. They even went to a step ahead to giving them medication, teaching them on how to store their medication, giving them the glucometers to test their anemia regularly.
Okay.
Yes. And even they went a step ahead to get into their economic situations. Those who are not even able to provide the meals, those who are not able to access the meals, they provide for them. Yes, even the nutritious porridge, meals. Yeah.
So I think it's good for the diabetic patients, especially the ones that are not able to accept their situations, to get counseling. And I hope that most of the hospitals are able to embrace that.
Yes. That's why actually in many hospitals they hire counselors. It's their work and social workers to get deep down into their family economic situations, to get into knowing that person very well, if they are accepting, if they are taking medication or not. Yes, it's just the same case with HIV.
Okay.
Yes.
So what medications, measures or classes are approved to treat diabetes?
Oh, nice. According to the type of the diabetes that you have, there are so many medications actually. And the most commonly used is metformin, and the most known is insulin, the injection. Actually, I know that when I talk to 10 people, I know 6 will only know of the insulin part. But
like
also,
I do.
Like you. Now you're so many. But there is insulin. Insulin is most commonly used in type 1 diabetes because there is no, as I said earlier, it's autoimmune. There is no any insulin formed in the body. So you just have to inject it into your body. And technology is coming and it's becoming even much better. In some places, if you have good finances, they put a plug in your body, a pump in your body, whereby it will be releasing small amounts of insulin when it's needed. Yes, just like the cells produce. Yes, so there is insulin that is injected, and there is also insulin that is pumped into your body with that small pump in your body.
Which I think the small pump is much better.
The small pump is much better because you don't have, and it's also the pain. The pain of injecting every time. It's so painful.
Especially for a kid.
Yes. So this one is tolerable.
So are there other ways that you can take insulin apart from the injection and all?
It's just the pump and the insulin injection.
I wish there were other ways.
I wish there were other ways. But now also, for type 2 diabetes, you use there are oral medications. Before you get to insulin, you have to use oral medications. The likes of metformin, it's well known. Metformin is just a tab which acts like insulin. It regulates the glucose in the body. Yes. There are so many. There are different classes actually. Yes.
And I'd wish that you could name for us those
these classes.
Yes.
There is glibenclamide, there's metformin, there's sulfonylureas, there is Jesus, they so hard these names.
Okay, with all these names. These names, you could kindly maybe explain to us one by one. I am so sure there is a diabetic patient there who would really like to know maybe, they just know maybe of insulin and maybe they'd like to try other what is it called?
Other medications.
Yeah, other medications.
Now, actually, if you're on insulin, stick to using insulin, unless the doctor prescribes for you to change. And that will be if your blood glucose levels, they have gone low.
Okay.
Yes, but there is more metformin. When you are when you are diagnosed of diabetes, there is a stage called pre-diabetes. Pre-diabetes, you are only given metformin to use. And in a case where your glucose levels, they maintain at normal level for 1 year, it's called remission. This stage, you're diagnosed free of diabetes, and now you are free, diabetes free. It is called remission. In diabetes, you may be given type 2, you may be given metformin and maybe added something else on top. Yes, maybe a sulfonylurea or something else actually. So means with how you are taking your drugs, okay. For the need for you to be added another dose is because of how you are taking. If you have a poor adherence, the dosage will be high. But if you are taking your drugs well on every day, on a daily basis, how it is needed, it means you'll only stick to one, and at some time you may go even to not taking the drugs at all.
Okay.
Yes. The remission area.
Okay.
Yes.
So I can see a question from a Facebook viewer. She's asking, is there any medical diagnosis of diabetes? I can see she calls it insipidus, something of the sort.
Diabetes insipidus.
Okay, insipidus.
There is diabetes mellitus and diabetes insipidus. Diabetes mellitus, it's just these types, type 1 and type 2.
Okay.
Yeah, we already talked about that.
Wow. So she's asking any diagnosis and how can it be treated?
We were talking about type 1 and type 2, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, type 1 diabetes, you know, we have talked about how you diagnose this diabetes, the test that we talked about, the random blood sugar, the fasting blood sugar, the OGTT, and also the HbA1c. So these are just measures of diagnosis type 1 and type 2 diabetes, generally the diabetes. When it's positive, you are put on medication. Now, depending on which type you are. If it's type 1, you'll be put on insulin, the injectable or the pump if you have it, if you are able to. If you are type 2, you will be put first on oral medication. Before you get to insulin, that means that the oral medications have failed and now you need to. And your blood sugars are still high. Now you have to reduce them using insulin, the injectable one. Yeah, so in type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes, we don't rush to insulin. We start doing it stepwisely. We first start using the oral medications, and then as you grow, as you progress, by bad luck, if you're doing poor, you are having a poor adherence, you may get to insulin. But we don't really love going to insulin. We just advise you to take your drugs very well. You maintain a good adherence, and then you just be on oral medications and exercises and diet. Yes.
Okay. So, can long-term complications of diabetes be prevented?
Yes. Yes, long-term complications like peripheral neuropathy, neuropathies, cardiovascular diseases like heart diseases, stroke. Yes, they can be prevented very well. And the only way of preventing these so that you don't get into complication is just you have to maintain a good adherence. You just have to make sure you take your medication on daily basis. You make sure you take at least 30 minutes in a day for exercises. You make sure that you take your meals as said by the nutritionist or the caregiver that the medical practitioner that you are seeing. Yeah. So if you do these things very well, I promise you, we won't even have short-term complications because they are long-term and they are short-term. Yes. Okay. We won't even get to there. We won't even be talking about complications.
So the main thing is adherence.
Main thing is adherence, diet, and exercise.
Okay, so I can see a question here. What diet is recommended for diabetic patients?
Nice. Nice. We talk about balanced diet for every person, but in diabetic patients, we tend to avoid high carbohydrates. Nowadays, the Gen Z, we call it carbs. We tend to avoid carbs. Carbs, they store a lot of energy. It's like ugali. When you eat ugali, it has a lot of energy. It may cause the glucose level to go high, and when it goes high, we have hyperglycemia. It causes trouble.
Yeah.
So we tend to avoid high carbs. We use high proteins. We use high vegetables, fruits also. Those are the things that should be high. Maybe small piece of ugali with many mbogas and a fruit. Yes.
And also for a normal person, I can see that is recommended.
It's also, yes. Yes, but you know, for a normal person, actually, the people who go to Mjengo, you can't tell that person not to eat a lot of ugali. You cannot.
Yeah.
So, for a normal person, just eat. Just eat, but usiharibu, yes, to limit.
Okay. So I can see a question here. What are the short-term consequences of diabetes?
Short-term consequences of diabetes, just like we said in hyperglycemia, when we get full, what do we have? We sweat a lot. We have mood. We just irritated so easily. We can have headaches. Sometimes we can have blurry vision. Yes, that's just what we were talking about. Sometimes you may faint when you don't eat anything. Yes, these are just the short-term consequences, complication. You may have infections, urinary tract infections. Yeah, but when it goes further into long-term complications, you can have even kidney failure. That's bad. You may have diabetic foot. Diabetic foot is whereby just a small wound pops out to be something big. I've managed many diabetic wounds, and they are not good. They can even lead to amputation.
Yeah, and I heard that the wounds don't get cured so quickly.
Yes, you see, the way I was saying that you may get infections. These infections, they are very hard. Ni ngumu sana kupona. That's why the wound they don't get well so fast. You know, when the sugars are so high in the body, the bacteria gets a very comfortable space to grow. And when they are multiplying, you're trying to heal them, but haziishi. Yes,
that's bad.
But I've seen cases that they get well. I've managed cases that get well. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So in a child's case, can children outgrow diabetes?
Unfortunately, a child cannot outgrow diabetes. It's an autoimmune, and once it is there. We can't change that.
Okay. So what is the preferred diet for a child with diabetes?
Wow, I was actually, before I came here, I was watching a documentary about diabetes, and I saw 2 children actually, and they had a story. And they were saying that when the mom realized that this child was diabetic, he was diabetic, he was wondering what to give the child, and he could try avoid some meals, and then she thought that she can give the baby maybe a balanced diet or a different meal from the rest, and you see this causes utengano beef between these children,
because they don't understand.
Yes, we don't. Mbona huwa anapatiwa chakula special, mbona si tusipatiwe hiyo? But she came to learn later that there is no special diet for child mwenye akona diabetes. We just lower the carbohydrates. Just lower the carbohydrates. Make sure they eat what other children are eating. Avoid sodas. Avoid chocolates. Avoid sweets. These sweet things.
For a child,
it must be hard. And she was even going ahead saying that when they went to the hospital, they were admitted. And when they were in the hospital, unaona vile mtu akidungwa, and they are told nitakupatia sweetie. This child is wondering, mbona mimi nikidungwa sipatui sweetie? And you know, it's so sad. Mbona mimi nikidungwa sipatui chocolate? It's so bad. And they want, like the other children, when they are coming to be visited, you find that they are being brought fruits, they are being brought sweets, but huyu aletewi. So it causes a very huge difference. You just avoid sweets, you just avoid soft drinks, You just avoid chocolates, this stuff that have refined sugar. Just avoid that. But everything else is okay.
So for a child, he or she is supposed to avoid it completely,
Yes.
or maybe in small portions.
Probably in small portions. Actually, I was having a patient. This one is an adult, but I know sometimes it might be, maybe he might go for lunch late due to work reasons. So he will walk with sweets in his pocket. Whenever he feels like he's going hypo, anachukua sweet anakula. Yeah, so sweets are a lifesaver for diabetic patients also. But you don't take it over. Unachukua tu kidogo kidogo. When you feel like you're going hypo, you just take nini kiasi, which will sustain you mpaka time utakula.
Okay,
Yes.
wow.
Yes.
Which normal glucose levels should be maintained by a diabetic patient?
Diabetic patient, please don't go past 7.8. Don't go past 7.8. Let's just leave it at 7.8. We are okay.
Okay. So how often should a patient replace their glucose meter?
Wow, that's that's so interesting. A glucose meter, nowadays they're so technology may come, and we are at a better place right now. You don't have to replace that thing. Maybe to the battery, ikiisha, that will be, it can even take 4 to 5 years. What you have to do is, because you can't reuse the strips, you have to buy the strips. Ikiisha unatupa, you buy another one. Ikiisha unatupa, you buy another one. Yes. Now the strips is what you have to get.
Okay. I can see from the viewer here, she is asking, how can one learn to accept their diabetic condition? I think this is a person that amekataa kuitikia.
Amekataa kuitikia kabisa. It's so sad.
Yeah.
But as I was talking about the denial, the grief process, you have to go through all processes. You have to kata, to deny. You go through hapo katikati until you accept.
Yeah.
So at the long run, you have to accept. By the help of the community, you have counselors. They'll talk to you. We have very nice medical practitioners like me who can talk to people. You can advise them very well. You can counsel them. You can take them through the medication.
Yeah.
And at the long run, you just have to accept, because if you don't accept, it will be bad. It will be bad. Yeah, so we just urge you, take your medications in the correct time. We are with you in this journey. So please just accept so that you can take the medication. We don't want complications. We don't want to go there. But some people can be stubborn. Some people can refuse to accept. I know we are very different. You just talk to them about the complications. And when you see the complications are much higher than taking this medication, nakwambia utakubali. You will have to accept. The complications are bad, actually. That's why.
Yeah. True.
And we don't want to go that route.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've seen this, but I think most patients that suffer these lifestyle diseases, they are not able to accept it that fast.
Yes, it's hard to accept. You know, 1 minute you are living life, and then the next minute you are diabetic. You have to stop taking alcohol. You have to quit smoking. You have to exercise regularly. Unafaa kuacha sijui kula sukari. You know, it's bad. Before now, the mind changes and shifts to being diabetic. It takes you a while.
Yeah, it's bad. How often should the patient visit the endocrinologist? Maybe first you can define for us who is an endocrinologist.
Endocrinologists are just from the word endocrinologist. Endocrine. There is endocrine, there is neurologist, logy, and then nist. Now, this is someone who has studied endocrinology. Endocrine is a part of the body. Yes, and it comes where the pancreas is, and then the insulin, malina produciwa, all that about the pancreas and endocrine system. Now, neurology is a study. Gist, this is that is behind there is now the person who has studied that.
Okay.
Yes, and is practicing that.
Okay.
So endocrinology, they mostly see these diabetic patients. Yes, huyu ni msemo mwenye amesomea kabisa, ameiva hii kitu ya diabetes. Yes, hii ndo Kenya amemejwa nayo. Seeing an endocrinologist when you're diabetic, it depends with you now. It can take, as for some people, even weekly. For some people, even after a month. For some people, even more than a month. Just depends on how you're taking medication. If you have a good adherence, I promise you will see maybe the endocrinologist maybe after 3 to 4 months. Ukachunda tu kupimwa nini HbA1c, confirm vile iko sasa. But if you have poor adherence, nakwambia you will be making visits there. Frequent visits there. Yeah, so how you when you have to see the endocrinologist, it depends on you. Manze take those drugs, uta avoid kumuona hadi. Yes.
Okay. So which lifestyle should be adapted by a diabetic patient?
Which lifestyle? A healthy lifestyle. In summary, a healthy lifestyle. Exercise regularly. In a day, 30 minutes. Just tenga to 30 minutes kando. Say this one, I'm going to exercise. Simama, just walk. I had a name for that. I don't know what it was. I just forgot it. Walk. Eat a balanced diet. Avoid carbohydrates as much as you can. And if you have to, low portions.
Okay.
So you know the diets for diabetes, most of them, nowadays may change kiasi, but most of them they are told to eat browns. Hizi chakula zenye ziko brown ugali, brown mkate, rice brown and everything. But now it's changing. When you know how to balance, sometimes you won't even have to take these browns. Yes, another thing, take medications. Just those 3 things, and you'll be okay.
Okay. So, our dear viewers, we are going to take a short break. First, I can see many people are watching the show and they're loving Dr. Malda.
It's amazing.
I can see a comment from Purity Koome. She's saying, wow, this is wonderful. Thank you so much, Purity. I can see Steve King tuned in from Githurai. I can also see Irene from Nakuru. Wow, thank you so much, our viewers, for watching. Now we can take a short break and we'll be right back.
Greetings friends, my name is Florence Karemeri, the CEO of Kitenge World International. We deal with all kinds of outfits, wedding outfits, kids outfits, ladies outfits, couple goals of fabrics you can choose from, and we deliver countrywide. Fabrics are available both in retail and in wholesale. We are located in Juja Town, Deakin College Building, shop number 4.
Elohim, Adonai, Shammah, 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 oh Shammah, 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 oh Shammah. Elohim, Adonai, Shammah, oh Shammah.
Tayari amefundisha, amenena. Nashukuru Bwana, taongea mambo ya vipawa vya Roho Mtakatifu na karama ya walimu ni sehemu yake. We may not have a formal way of having a Bible study or even teaching. Toweza kosa nafasi ya kusema sasa chukueni Biblia tunataka tufanye Bible study ukiwa nyumbani ama kwa biashara. Lakini Bwana atapatiana a platform which might be informal platform. And the informal platform ni ya kwamba, labda tuseme kwa mfano ni ndugu yetu Kahodho anaongea na mtu wa nyumba, ama kuna biashara wanaongea juu yake, na wanapoongea, haleluya, huyu Roho Mtakatifu ambaye ameachiwa kanisa kipindi hiki, haleluya, atapatiana a informal platform, ndio ufundishe hili neno la Bwana. Any chance that the Holy Spirit gives you as a platform, then pata nafasi hiyo na uitumie vizuri, haleluya. Na ukiitumia vizuri, what you speak, it will break their heart.
Yesu kasema mimi ni mzabibu wa kweli, naye Baba yangu ni mkulima. Tawi lote lizaalo litapaliliwa, lile ambalo halizai litakatwa. Mimi ni mzabibu wa kweli, naye Baba yangu ni mkulima. Mimi ni mzabibu wa kweli, naye Baba yangu ni mkulima. Bwana asifiwe sana wapendwa. Majina yangu naitwa Mbogwa GK, nimeokoka. Mimi ni mwimbaji wa nyimbo za Injili, na ukitaka kubarikiwa na huo wimbo wangu Mzabibu, uta SMS jina Skiza 1069056, kisha utume huo ujumbe kwa 811 na utakuwa umejipatia Skiza tune yangu ya wimbo Mzabibu, na Bwana atakuwa amekubariki sana. Bwana awabariki nyote. Wa kweli, naye Baba yangu ni mkulima, kila tawi lisiloza uliondoa, na kila tawi.
You are now watching Nisi Television, House of Rest.
What is good health? How do we attain and maintain healthy living? We have answers concerning communicable, lifestyle, genetic and non-genetic diseases. Join me, Cecilia Mwariri, and our medical experts every Wednesday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. for informative and educative conversations. This is the 911 show on Nisi Television, where we transform lives through media.
Well, welcome back, our dear viewers. We have Dr. Martha Nzoka here with us, and she has talked about diabetes, if you just tuned in. Dr. Martha,
Yes.
what will you tell a diabetic patient? Maybe ako tu hapo and wondering what to do. Yeah. Ama alienda tu jana hosi, akaambiwa kuna diabetes.
Yeah, sure. Now, my colleague, my friend, diabetes is very preventable, type 2. You just have to make sure that you take your medication, because if you've seen the health practitioner and you've been diagnosed of diabetes, meaning that they've explained to you so well what you're supposed to do, what you're not supposed to do. Kindly adhere to these instructions given to you by the health practitioner. Make sure you visit them regularly. Make sure you know your blood glucose levels. Make sure you exercise frequent every day. In a day, make sure you set 30 minutes apart for your exercises. Make sure you enjoy a balanced meal. Avoid carbohydrates. Avoid alcohol. If you're a smoker, quit smoking. It will make the gravid look so like a friend to you. So avoid smoking. Yeah. Avoid high salt food diets, and make sure that you embrace diabetes. It's a friendly thing actually, and when you embrace it, meaning that you'll have a longer life to live, you'll have a longer period to stay here. And then also exercise. I've already talked about this. Exercise. Exercise. Yes, and take your medication. Yes.
Okay. So maybe someone is wondering, where can we find you? Maybe you can give us your social media handles and maybe your contacts, if it's okay.
My contacts will just be placed down here. Will you place them?
Yes, my producer is placing them, her contacts. Yeah.
0717 856
Okay.
807. That's my number. On Facebook, I'm called Martha Maritha. Martha Maritha. Also in Instagram, I'm Martha Maritha. Yes.
Maybe you can repeat the contacts.
0717 856 807.
Yes.
Yes. If you have any question,
you can holler her.
Yes.
Yes. So, dear viewers, you've just heard from Dr. Martha Nzoka. Yes. And you've heard that you can just talk to her. You can contact her on the numbers displayed. And Dr. Martha, thank you so much for coming. And also our viewers, thank you so much for tuning in to Nisi TV, the 911 show, where we get to talk about your health and how to maintain and attain a good healthy living. So, Dr. Martha, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
We welcome you back maybe next time.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
So thank you so much, our dear viewer. You can contact us on Nisi Television on all platforms, on Instagram, Nisi Television, Twitter, Nisi Television, Facebook, Nisi Television, and also on our website page, www.nisitelevision.co.ke. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.